Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the only podcast that has one team left in the playoffs. It was a brutal weekend for yourself, Danny and I. Danny and I. Charlie, you're up and about, but Danny, how are you, mate? Are you feeling the pain like I am?
Yeah, that was tough. That was a really hard watch. But to be fair, we were consistent. And the one thing that we were consistent about was that we couldn't ever play a full half of football. So we could we could play a quarter, fine. This was it was resembling of our whole year, which kind of made sense. We were inconsistent the whole way through. If we started strong, we never finished strong, or if we didn't start strong, we'd finish strong. There was no consistency there. The defense let go some major plays really early. The 49ers had a touchdown score within the first 5 minutes of play. I was like, this isn't Vic Fangio's defense. Then my boy Q ended up getting 2 interceptions. I was like, holy shit, we're back. And then we still lost on the final drive because apparently AJ Brown forgot how to catch. Yelled at Nick Sirianni on the sideline about not getting off the field in time. Got nose to nose with him and then dropped every catch since. Oh, it was tough. It was hard.
We're going to talk about it later, but you've covered most of it already. We will get back to it. But at Charlie Pick, you are the only winner out of the three of us. You're sitting on a bit of a cloud nine at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm too good a person to rub it in. I think that's really...
On air, you are.
Well, I've been delightful. I've genuinely reached out to both of you and checked that you're okay after this. And it is, as we said in the podcast that it was swallowed by technical difficulties, so I'll say it again. It's the exciting and brutal part of the year. The one and done, it's so abrupt when your team doesn't get there, and it is so painful. So I'm feeling it for you guys, but obviously, given I wasn't confident going into the Jays game, I've got a genuine sense of relief.
I genuinely got so many messages from friends and family that are getting around to the game, but learning from us as they go, and they're like, "Is that it? Is it done and dusted?" We're like, "Yep." Once you get to playoffs, you lose, you are out. It is that brutal. You are 100% right. All right, you're right. We did have a podcast. We're back in the studio. Unfortunately, the technical gremlins got in there and decided that it was too good of an episode. We were releasing too much of the schedule already, and Danny Boy had the script and he was reading out exactly what was going to happen. So the higher-ups said, no, we're not putting it out, but that's fine. We can talk about the results afterwards. And we go way back to yesterday as we're recording. The Rams and Panthers. Danny Boy, do the Panthers lose any fans in this game? Because no one gave them any chance. And realistically, one good play from the Colby Parkinson, I believe the tight end was, they're almost winning that game.
Yeah, so the only person who gave him a chance was me on this episode that we've lost, which is ridiculous to say because everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, Monday expert. But I said there was no way that the Rams were going to cover this line because it was a 10.5-point line. And the Panthers did. They showed out. It was in Carolina. At one point, I found myself really rooting for them to win. One, because I don't want 3 NFC West teams in the NFC side, which we currently do. But as you said on Instagram, NFC West is best, apparently. But the Panthers did absolutely everything in this. And they need to walk away being so proud. T-Mac on that team needs to get offensive rookie of the year. He was the only rookie who put up over 1,000 yards for that season. His connection with Bryce Young, they should be so proud of that. And the best part was they actually stood up on defense for the most part. Obviously towards the end, and that touchdown pass to Kobe Parkinson, inevitable. You're facing the league's MVP at this point, and you still got it within a one-score game. They should be so proud of themselves. If anything, I reckon they're going to get more fans out of this.
Yeah, Charles, I don't know if you saw it, but there was the press conference after the game, and there was actually a reporter that said to Liam Cohen that, we're so proud of you, and you are Duval. He's won the fans over.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Carolina. Do you know what I mean? I just feel positive for them. And just no, but that's nice. Just given where they were, they drafted their quarterback, Bryce Young, high in the draft with the first pick, and everyone wrote him off. And you look at the way that he played, and you would say that they can feel secure that they're not in that search, they're not in the wilderness because he's playing well enough. And the rest of that team, they showed up. It was a great game, and there was a time when in that game when I was like, I think they've got it. Like I was really surprised. I didn't think the Rams were going to get back, and I just well done to the Panthers, and yeah, it was an exciting game of football. It was a great way to start the wildcard round because it was close, it was hard. The level obviously lifted. It was physical. It was what you want from playoff football.
This obviously a lesson is don't read the the script that's ahead of us in this. I'm obviously talking about the Jags when I was talking about Duval.
I was polite enough to gloss over that.
I know you did. Danny was laughing in the background, and I was like, "Oh, but that's all right. No, these things happen." I was just reading the next line, which is not what we're up to. But you're right, though. I think it's a bit of a coming of age. Like we've spoken about it a few times. This time last year, or 8 weeks to go last year, he was benched, and everyone, like Big Red came back into the Panthers lineup, and everyone thought that Bryce was done and dusted. But next year's looking up for them, really.
Yeah, and that division, it's been patchy. Like that is a patchy division. If they can get consistent, if they can, next season go, this is our foundation, this is our benchmark, we don't go below this. They're going to keep the Buccaneers honest, who have some big questions to ask, and they're going to be competitive in that division for a while. It's a great division for them to be good in, and I hate the pressure that gets put on a rookie quarterback. The fact that they're not a perfect quarterback when they, start playing. I'm not saying Zach Wilson is anything better than a backup quarterback, but the pressure of struggling in your first season, and it's the same with Bryce Young. Just like he had struggles and it was hard. The fact that he took his lumps and he sat on the bench and he's come back better and he's learned from it is just so encouraging.
And Danny, the Rams side, should they be worried, or were they should have been expecting this fight back or fight?
Well, the Carolina beat them in whatever week it was. I can't remember. It was from my notes from last week in that episode. But they were coming out, I think, expecting to have quite a hard battle. And we were talking about it in a preview episode. Like them going down and playing in Carolina was always going to be tough. They'd gone from playing in a dome and it was cold, it was wet, it was windy, it was miserable. And the Panthers loved playing in it. So for Matthew Stafford to go down there and still perform the way they did, Puka Nacua was still amazing. He is a phenomenal player to watch and is so enjoyable. I don't think the Rams should necessarily be worried. It's playoff football. They were struggling getting into the last final weeks heading towards the playoffs. So the fact they've come away with a win, I think that's all they needed. And it's exactly right at this point. You get the W, you're through the next round. That's all that matters. And that's why 2 out of 3 of us hearts are broken right now.
That is a perfect segue. Speaking of struggling to get in to the playoffs, the Packers, with the loss to the Bears, end up 1-6 in their last 7 games. Charles, is this the end of Matt LaFleur?
That's how much is he able to point to, Micah Parsons' injury and say that changed it so significantly? You lose a player like that who is, as important as their quarterback. How much does that change your outlook? But there is just a big question over that, to start so strong, to have so many dominant performances this season. But the ones where the Packers weren't, I think there are some big concerns. And, I can't remember who it was from the Packers talking. One of your safeties was talking at a press conference afterwards, and he said, no disrespect to the Bears, but they're not shit. We just need to finish, right? Which I personally think when the Bears have just beaten you, maybe keep your mouth shut about them. But there's a bit of loose shit coming out of that locker room all season, let's be honest. But I would say that, there is a point there that they do need to finish. They're a good enough team to be getting the job done, but they did not finish this year. And that run home, I think it is, I don't know. There could be big questions asked about Matt LaFleur. I don't think of all of the teams that lose out of the playoffs, they've got the biggest coaching questions, but I think Matt LaFleur could be on the hot seat.
Danny boy, I feel a bit harsh saying he's at the end of him, because at the end of the day, we had 7 points left off the board from our kicker, Brandon McManus, who had his struggles during the year, and when he was off, we brought in a kicker, Havlicek, who set a record for the Packers for the longest field goal and was 100%. And we retained him. He's still on our roster, but didn't get another gig. So I find like Matt LaFleur doesn't miss those field goals. And there was a stat that I think it was 2 stats of teams that were 10 points up with 2 minutes to go. Packers were 0-3 this season, and it was the same as teams that had not punted. I think it was 18 games or something where a team had not punted, and it was 15-3, and the Packers were those 3. Like, there's a lot of times, and that might come down to coaching, but he's not out there on the field. He can only do so much.
Yeah, that's true. I think, like, your kickers, there's no way he's getting another gig next year. Matt LaFleur, haven't they already come out and said they've had contract negotiations and they're fine and they're all going to play happy families? So let's stop talking about the Packers for a second and let's talk about how good it was that the Bears had an 18-point comeback in the fourth quarter. Like, I get it. The Packers did shit the bed, but you can shoot the bed and still be 18 points up and still get it done. The Bears turned that game around in that fourth quarter, and it was an incredible... I know you hate me saying this, and I really do. I'm not doing this to rub it in, but like, it was an incredible comeback. Caleb Williams went from being this player that was almost getting benched in his first year, like was nowhere. Ben Johnson comes in, completely turns this quarterback around and makes him like what everyone expected him to be. That pass, when it was 4th down, and it was in the 4th, and he's running, he's scrambled, like shrugs off a tackle where he was nearly getting sacked, ends up midair and throws like a 40-yard bomb. Like, that was incredible. Like, that was like, people, if Patrick Mahomes did that, the internet would have blown the fuck up. But the fact that it was Caleb Williams, even you had to repost that because it was such an incredible finish for the Bears to be able to actually get the job done, because like 18 points up against the Packers isn't an easy thing to like come around and turn around, especially not in the fourth quarter. So I think you got to have a huge shout out to Caleb Williams, huge shout out to Loveland, and then Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, Ben Johnson has completely changed that franchise in a single year.
And there were things you have to say about the Bears offense in that game. There were some of those Ben Johnson like signature trick play things, like things that he is doing that you loved about him as OC at the Lions. To see the Bears be able to pull it off and to see that's part of the game, it makes the Bears great to watch. And they're going to be, who knows how they go from here. But you're right, that's a massive comeback, and their offense is playing some really just exciting football. Can I just jump back to the Packers? And I've got a question for you, T-Mac. Yeah, it's not Matt LaFleur's fault, the missed kicks. I want to ask, whose fault is it when the clock has those few seconds on it, that a quarterback runs around for that long, burning clock, when there was time for 2 plays there? If that was thrown away, that clock got burned so badly when there's like 8 seconds to go. So my question is that bad coaching to not be, if it's not there, throw it away, and to know that going into the game, like that situational mentality? Or did Jaden Daniels was he trying too hard? Was he not understanding that not Jaden Daniels, sorry. Oh
Jordan
my God, Jordan Love.
I wasn't going to say it, but
I call myself. But Jordan Love should he just know I can get two cracks at this, not throw it away and use every second on essentially a Hail Mary?
I think if you go back and watch, he fumbled the ball or it came out or it hit the ground, and that's that couple of seconds where he was gathering it and then got back up. I reckon that cost the second play. If he had a thrown away there's every chance that time runs out, and it's probably worse. At least he didn't. He had a shot at the end zone, albeit a terrible shot at it. But yeah, I feel like if he doesn't fumble there, it might be a slightly different thing if he looks up and he doesn't have the play. But like Danny put in our messenger group, the play before when we got a false start, I think it was, which pushed us back that extra 5 yards, that's time for the receivers getting into the end zone. Like, it's another second and a half, which when you only have 8 seconds and it takes 4 seconds for your receivers to get down there, you don't have much time to make a decision. So I feel like that fumble really stuffed him up there. But you're right. He's now a 6-year quarterback. paid $1 bajillion. He should be making the right decision in that one. And I think realistically, the last half, there wasn't many good decisions on our half.
Yeah, it's interesting. It reminded me of the divisional game last year between the Bills and the Ravens, and there was a bad snap to Lamar Jackson, and it fumbled it, and he gathered it, and rather than just accepting that, just to protect the ball, save the time, and do something, tried to play, ended up being stripped of the ball and losing it. And there was I think it was Romo at the time saying, in that situation, just play it safe, live to fight another day.
Yeah.
And if you have a look at some of the games that we've seen, there are the quarterbacks who understand that and are doing that, and there are those that are taking risks they shouldn't take, and it costs them dearly.
All I can hope is that he learns from it, because he's not going anywhere. But I said this in the episode that didn't get put up. My biggest worry is playing on emotion. We needed to get far enough ahead that the emotion was taken out of it. We weren't. They played so much better on the emotion, and I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but because they have not had the success over the past 15, 20, 50 years, they play on that emotion. They play on it well, where we've been successful, haven't had that real deep, like they just wanted it more in the end of the day, and shit, kudos to them at the end of the day. And I didn't want to lose to them, but hopefully they shit the bed next week.
And I'm sure you didn't want to lose to them because we did double down on our bet. So hopefully...
that was on the episode, wasn't it?
It was actually also on our previous episode. So some listeners have already hit me up about it. So hopefully by next week, we've got you a little juicy Bears jersey. Really, the Bears did everyone a favour, so I didn't have to do an episode in my budgies on the couch.
I'm still hoping for that. Let's work on that anyway. The next game, we'll move on for that. Next one, the Jills and the Bags. Bags, Bills and Jags. And I don't know if you've heard, Charlie, that... spit it out. I'm rattled after that last game. I don't know if you've heard, Charlie. Liam Cohen was getting kudos after the game for even though they lost.
No, I hear people are saying he is Duval, but that's what I hear. That's what I hear. That's the mail I'm getting out of Duval. This was a great game. Like this was and this to me was once again what you love about playoffs, where it's a game of inches, and it was a game of inches a number of times, like first downs that got called back or that were close, and talking about that situational awareness, I thought Trevor Lawrence played a really good game, and there was a point where the Jags had the presence of mind in at the end of the first half when they nailed like a 34, 36-yard pass to get in field goal range, and they were there fast enough to snap the ball and stop the clock. They were there so quickly. The Bills were offside because they hadn't gotten into position yet. And I really think that in this game you saw two teams play at their level and do a really good job of it. And at the end of the day, I think deep down, I was really happy with the Bills' defense, which has been criticised a lot through the season, but it held strong. And I think it was just the difference between the two quarterbacks. I think the Bills got enough pressure on Trevor Lawrence, got him holding the ball long enough that he had two interceptions, and really that was the difference, particularly when it came down to it. Jags have the ball a minute to go and they have to go and win the game. To be able to force a turnover in that point, that really was the difference. But, they had a shot with a home playoff. The Bills, they were 0-8 for away playoffs. They finally win one on the road. It's a big one for the Bills, and I say they played a good, consistent game without mistakes that they needed to show they can play. The Eagles struggled to play two halves this year. The Bills have as well, but they played two strong halves.
Danny, I know the Bills 0-8 coming into away playoffs and realistically probably lucky to get out of it, and the Jags fans are happy with how they've gone, which we said they probably would be. Didn't get blown out of the water. Is it still a missed opportunity by them? Because 50 seconds to go, they're up.
I feel like the commentator, I can't remember the commentating duo for that game, but one of them said, I really feel like the winner of this game is going to the Super Bowl. And I felt like that too. And I felt like that the whole way when the Jags were winning, I was like, watching this team, they are looking like a Super Bowl contending team right now. And then for the Bills to come away with it and beat the Jags, which were looking so strong, and to do it in the final 2 minutes, and to intercept T-Law right at the very end, for exactly what Charlie was saying, for a Bills defense that really has struggled, for them to be able to do that, that's going to fill them with so much confidence. They've had a away win. Like, I think it will 100% it's a missed opportunity for the Jags, but it's also a really real positive for the Bills here, looking forward into the next coming weeks.
That's the only thing that worries me with the Jags is, everyone goes, good win, we're going to build on next year. But you look at the Commanders, you look at the Ravens, you look at the Chiefs, the Chiefs are probably a bad one, but these opportunities don't come around every year. We can't just be like, yeah, we're back here next year. Tennessee Titans might come out and shock the world, and the Jags don't make the playoffs next year. So I feel like it is a missed opportunity, especially when they played so well at home against a team that, had the monkey on them back of losing the away game. So that's the only worry, Charles, I have of this loss for them.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there's a tiny little detail here with Trevor Lawrence. He had a great season, and just like they scored a lot of touchdowns, and their offense was really cooking, particularly after Jacoby Myers joined the team before the deadline. Lots of positives there. But there's one little stat that I think is really relevant. They had the ball tipped at the line of scrimmage 5 times in this game. And they had one of the highest number of tips at lines of scrimmage this season. They had like 20 in the season and then 5 today. And I think it's highest in the league, 25 for a season. And it says a little bit about his feel for being a quarterback. You watch the Mahomes, the Lamars, Hurts, Allen does it. They adjust their throwing to get around that line of scrimmage. If someone is jumping up, they play around it a little bit, and he doesn't quite seem to have that feel or layer those passes in to get over and hit the middle of the field. And so that, if that's a consistent weakness, that's going to be a problem. You know that get your hands up at the line of scrimmage, and you've got a good chance of like taking away some important third down plays, and that is a thing that happened. But yeah, on the whole, I think the Bills showed that they can, as they've shown all year, they can win the tight games, and I don't think anyone wants to be playing them on the way home. And think about it, the Patriots were 10-0, and then the Bills beat them, and the Jags, their run home was 8 straight, and the Bills beat them. There's some good signs there that they can beat teams that are winning.
You're going to have to next week against the Broncos, who are absolutely on fire. But Danny boy,
just quickly, Charlie, are you worried about the absolute pounding Josh Allen took today? Like there was a clear pass where he hit his own offensive line in the helmet, on his passing hand, on his index finger too, which is like so important for those who don't know, for when you're passing the ball, because it's the one that actually rolls and you get the spin. It's the whole point of throwing. And then he got sacked like hard a bunch of times. Like he took some hits. He got evaluated for concussion in the first quarter too. Like I think
after the first drive, that worried me the most, because if you've got there's nothing you can do about that, and it could rule you out next week. You don't know with a concussion. I'm worried about it. I think he made some nice long throws in that final quarter to seal the game that made me think he's not, like his hand's not structurally bad. It might be pretty sore this week and he has to rest it. But yeah, he took a pounding. But you watch these games, every quarterback took a pounding. It's player football. They have to stay in the pocket. They have to take the picks to make the plays, to get there. I'm a little worried, but he also has the most consecutive games without missing one with an injury of any player in the NFL. He's pretty tough. He should hold up
next week.
We'll see him next week. That's for sure.
Everyone's hurting at this time of year. I agree with that. Danny boy, your turn. 49ers, Eagles. Was this in the preview that didn't get out there? I said that I'm worried about the coaching, and was this the game that you guys were out coached?
Salah definitely out coaches towards the end. Like as I said off the top of the show, the first drive by the 49ers, like a pass just slipped through, and like they were off to the races, and it was gone. Like once it got past our secondary, like there was no stopping them. It was lucky he actually didn't go straight for a touchdown on that first pass. But then after that, the Eagles kind of like really tightened things up again. We had 2 scoring plays in a row. Jake Elliott missed a point after touchdown, which was killer. So we would have been 2 touchdowns up. Anyway, it didn't happen. And then like as we're ending the half, there was so much time. We had the ball. We were looking strong, and like the run game was working. But then for some reason, we went away from it, and then it just failed. And then in the second half, we had like three and outs to start the game. So like obviously the coaching had changed at that point, and they had adjusted. And Philly didn't, and the offense was just nowhere. And then on the final drive, they're like, oh, yeah, you know what? They've just scored. Now they're up. Now we'll start playing some good football again. And guess what? They relied heavily on the run, and we stormed our whole way up the field. Then it got to the final 4 downs, and we threw every single one. Threw every single one of the final 4 downs. When the running game was working, Saquon Barkley was actually playing really well. And then he went off injured at one point, and Tank stepped in and almost ran for a first down too. So, like, yes, to answer your question, we lost. We lost in the coaching battle. We lost in the battle for heart. We lost in every single way. I'd really like to say that we lost this game. I'm not going to say that the 49ers beat us. I really feel like this was Eagles' mistakes. There were so many. I think we had 7 or 8 flags in the game, and it was like false starts. It was just really stuff that was avoidable the whole time. There was a couple of face masks or whatever. Like, it was a game that the Eagles kind of went out there and lost more than the 49ers coming out there and winning.
Charlie, the 49ers, I think it was something like $110 million worth of lost players this season. George Kittle now out, confirmed Achilles injury, which could see not out just this postseason, a lot of next year too, if it's bad enough. So that's, another 40 million, whatever he's on. How far can this Niners team actually go?
I mean, in the long lost podcast episode where I talked up the 49ers,
we can say whatever we want happened in the podcast.
I think they are the team to worry about in the NFC. And that is just because they've had to make do. And everyone has been betting against them all season, and they've been winning. Like that NFC West, you've got the Seahawks and the Rams, and they've got now $130 million worth of players off the field. They shouldn't still be there, but they are. And it's the Sala coaching the defense has done an amazing job given the holes they've had and who they're missing. And Purdy's, I think, underrated. And I think if you could grab anyone that can absolutely shift the game on the right day, McCaffrey is nuts. Like some of his, he didn't do a lot on the ground, but he 2 touchdowns receiving and taking some incredible catches. He's just such a fierce competitor. I think they are, a genuine chance, the Niners. And and it is that thing, you say everyone's banged up at this time of year. Some teams are healthier than others, but it's the teams that know how to win ugly and the teams that know they've tested their depth. All of their depth players have got experience and won games. And so they know that if someone goes down, the next man up can do the job, and they know how to do the job because they've had to. I think that is a lot of what the Niners are about. And full credit to them. Can they do it all? I still don't know. Will it be another heartbreaking loss for Shanahan? Probably. But of those 2 teams, you would just say that that's great coaching. And I think there's a question with the Eagles, their lack of consistency this season, all of the internal ructions and everything. How good is the coaching situation at the Eagles? I know you don't get rid of a coach unless you got someone better, but you got a Harbaugh out there.
Teams that are looking for
You got a Harbaugh out there who's available. Is there? How safe is Sirianni, Danny?
I'm not too worried about Sirianni. It's more the OC that's will end up getting changed. I feel like the players really believe in Sirianni, and Sirianni 12 months ago took us to a Super Bowl and we won. I feel like that needs to at least ride out for one more year. You got to have respect for the fact that you walked away with a ring 12 months ago. Yeah, you got to let him go. I just want to touch quickly on the 49ers linebackers and how they were playing their 5th, 6th, 7th. We spoke about it on the episode that doesn't exist. But a huge shout out to Jordan Mailata because he got actually interviewed about it, and he's just like, these guys are playing for their career. They are playing for their life. They weren't a starter. They weren't even a 2nd string. They weren't even a 3rd string, and now they're out there. He's like, everyone's saying that we're playing this easy defense. We are playing against some absolute dogs out there that are going to go out there and prove their worth. And fucking oath did they do that today. And that is huge to them. They are deserving of contracts.
That's the thing. There's a lot of those players are going to get big contracts probably somewhere else next year. They have absolutely shown that they are hot property on the market.
Yeah, I'm lobbying for the team to be changed to the San Fran Christian McCaffreys, because just like James Cook, if he cooks, then the Bills cook. The first half when it didn't feel like San Fran was in the game. They started getting it, and like you said, he didn't do much on the ground. You were all over him, but in the air, he started to really make things happen. You get the ball to Christian McCaffrey, and things happen. So he's going to be dangerous next week for sure. Last game that was played this afternoon, the Chargers and the Patriots, it was a defensive battle, 3-3, I think, or 3-6 at halftime. But I really feel like, Charles, that it wasn't so much the Patriots just controlled the game. Drake May controlled the game, and Herbert, he falls to 0-3 in playoffs. How worried about that are we?
I'm worried about Herbert falling to 0-3 in the playoffs. I'm worried about the Chargers' complete inability to protect Justin Herbert. He's been too injured as it is, but he was just getting destroyed. And they've talked about it for years. They've talked about bolstering that O-line, but you just watched him get pummeled again. And it's just in a game like that, the second they slipped behind, they couldn't protect him enough to get time to throw the ball and make up the deficit. And it was like watching old Patriots football. Vrabel obviously played under Belichick. This was a very Patriots football, Belichick, just strangulation game, and just being everywhere on defense and being, people wondering how Drake May was going to go in the playoffs. Well, it didn't matter anywhere near as much because the defense was just an absolute boa constrictor. There was nothing that the Chargers could get done. And, they've had an okay run, but to lose 3 straight in playoffs in differing circumstances, but there is something missing there as a team, and they just don't have it to go further.
They are really looking like the Patriots that you are talking about, to the point where if you go on Instagram, you can find a clip of them running the exact same trick play that they did when Brady was there, and it missed. The Passover where Drake May does a little handoff and then he runs and goes to receive it. It is if you do a side-by-side comparison, you're like, I am watching the same team. That's how close they are to this Tom Brady version of the Patriots. And that is all to do with Vrabel and everything that he's brought in. But a huge shout out to Milton Williams, who had that final sack on Justin Herbert. That was huge. He won a Super Bowl ring with the Eagles and then went and got paid big bucks, and like they always do. And so good by him. But the best part was when he came off the field, he headbutted Vrabel.
Yeah.
And spit his lip as a way to celebrate. What a way to really show that you're the guy that was worth all that money by headbutting the head coach.
Yeah, the tough guy head coach who medical staff had to come in. They almost took him in the blue tent. He was bleeding profusely from the face.
He said, no, I'm staying out here with my boys. I saw a bit of blood everywhere. He's like, nah. No one makes me bleed my own blood. I'm fine.
And you raise a point there, though, Danny, which is in the off-season, if you remember, there was a lot of talk about how the Patriots spent the most in the off-season. They had the space to do it, but they went shopping and they overpaid a bunch of people to get them. And you would say that it is paid dividends for them. They've gotten absolute value out of a lot of those purchases in a way that a lot of people are like, yeah, you spend all this money, but can they get together as a team? Vrabel's done a great job as head coach. Definitely going to walk into Coach of the Year at this stage, you would have to say. I think I think you could debate that other coaches have done maybe more with less, but those Patriots are looking a challenge, definitely, and they are a proper team.
There is one game to go, and the Patriots, who have been all year, everyone have said they've had the easiest run. They've had the most teams under 500 that they're going to be playing. Played the Chargers, who we said are the biggest roller coasters of all this season. We've spoken about the Bills, the Eagles being roller coasters. They have been the roller coaster of the year. Now we have one more game to go to decide that side of it, which is the Texans and Steelers, which arguably out of the AFC is probably two of the Texans' offense we're still a bit iffy about, and the Steelers has Charlie's favourite player at quarterback. So, if they can get through those, which arguably, again, the easiest left in the draw, they're going to make it all the way to an AFC championship with people going, we still don't know if these Patriots are eating a bit as they are.
Yeah, it's look, this game is really interesting, and we've talked about it before. There's a bunch of questions. Are the Texans, is their defense strong enough to get them there? Is their defense that good that they can get them there? And they were murderously terrifying for, most of the back half of the season, but not quite as terrifying in the last few games. So our team's figuring them out a bit. Can they be strong enough to go on a deep run here? And on the flip side, the Steelers come in. Metcalf is back. That's great. Rodgers finally has someone to throw to, and if you watch the last few games, he just hasn't. But, if the Steelers don't win, they're in Chargers territory of just making it to the wild card consistently and then just losing out with no strong showing at all. There's a chance Tomlin is gone at the end of all this. And is it just a student exchange program between the Ravens and the Steelers, and Harbaugh ends up taking over the Steelers if the Steelers lose this? It's going to be an interesting game. And once again, I think it might come down to, is CJ Stroud actually a good quarterback? And he had a great rookie season. I'm still not convinced that he is as good as everyone thought after his first season.
Everyone was saying it was either first season he was ahead of Bryce, but Bryce looks like now he might have taken over the reins. Danny boy, we'll see what happens with this one. The winner of this plays the Patriots, but you've got hot in your little hands the rest of the schedule for next week.
Yeah, so the Bills if we're sticking on the AFC side, the Bills are playing the Broncos. And then jump back over the NFC. The 49ers are playing the Seahawks, and they actually played to get the number 1 seed. And the Seahawks won like 13-3, like barely let the 49ers score. So that one's going to be super interesting. And then the final game is the Rams versus the Bears. Some hot football coming on.
We get them Sunday and Monday. It's going to be a ripping week. We will talk about that later in the week. We'll be back in the studio. Hopefully Danny, just put the script away because you had too much hot topics for us to play the episode. Boys, we had 4 of the 5 games so far have come down to 1-score games. So let's hope it continues tomorrow into next week.
Can I ask a question?
Send us out.
I mean, obviously go Bills, but are the Bills now officially the team of AGS?
Yeah, jeez. I'm wearing a 49ers jersey that I found in my cupboard, but
you like bandwagon. Goodness me.
I said this in our group. I think I'm on the Bocanen and the Broncos train until they give me a reason not to be.
Well, let's see if we can give you a reason next week. But until then, go Bills.
Stop. There we go.